Hello, Chris. How you doing? It's so good to have you back.
Oh, fantastic, David. It has been a very odd journey as Jerry Garcia. What a long, strange trip it's been. It's been one of those events in one's life that, to begin with, you stop and ponder what life is all about. But it also validates everything that we've been talking about and everything we've been doing because when I went into the hospital, I literally died in the emergency room. And they put me on sedation, kept a ventilator in me, and I spent about a week where there was no consciousness at all. And on a couple of occasions, they brought me back up to consciousness, tried to remove the ventilator. My body wouldn't respond. There was no EKG. I couldn't breathe on my own. And they were talking about a tracheotomy, and they were waiting one more day, and if didn't respond, they were going to do that, which is a real scary thought if you know anything about medicine and tracheotomies. But the morning of the day that they were getting ready to put me on a dependent machine, I completely rebooted and became lucid and started talking. And the following week and a half, I was in the hospital. Nurses would stop by and say, "I just can't believe you're here."
Oh, wow.
So it was a wild ride. It absolutely was. And for those who have heard that it was a heart attack, that was not, in fact, the case. Because I keep a lot of love in my heart. I don't see my heart ever attacking me. I think when I do transition, it'll probably be just, a flat line, but not a heart attack, because I had pneumonia, and I didn't realize I had pneumonia until 20 minutes before I stopped breathing. I mean, it was insane. I had no symptoms, no nothing. And then all of a
Wow.
sudden, it was just like, it happened so rapidly that to me it was very obvious that this was a planned event, and that if I decided to move on, it was a fast escape. So I would have just left the body would have been gone, and that would have been, the end of one incarnation. But I think because of the that interaction with higher consciousness and the rebooting of the body, I've kind of come back with a clean slate now. So I'm really excited about what the possibilities are.
Well, there are so many possibilities. We all here, I know the whole audience, we sent out a lot of love, a lot of light to you. And, I knew the whole time, like I think I had told you before we started airing this, that you had sent me a signal that it was going to be fine. And, and it's so great to have you back here and to have your wisdom and to have your ability to channel. And I think it's so beautiful for you to go through this story and for you to let us all know your experience and for you to really look at every angle of it all and to come from that place of understanding that higher consciousness, which, I believe that you're really here to really help others with their consciousness. I don't think you're done yet. I think that we're going through such crazy times. We need you, and I think that you channel such high vibration and such great energy, and it's a pleasure to be connected with you, Chris.
Oh, it's an absolute delight being a part of our program here. That's one of the things that keeps me coming back and sticking around all the Leos in my life, because Friday, my kid Eric is having his birthday. Tuesday the 6th, the grandson is having his birthday. You just had your birthday. And so for me, Leo time is like this ongoing birthday party for 30 days. It's just awesome.
Well, we're in Leo. It's good that you made a return during the royal entrance of quite a great, powerful weekend and week. I think you came right on track because that whole time you were gone, we went through a lot of crazy energy. I mean, a crazy Mercury retrograde, which you would have loved to know there was crazy plane wrecks, I mean, train wrecks. I mean, there was so much craziness over this Mercury retrograde, and you come back right as Mercury gets out of its shadow period this weekend.
Yes. And that whole process of watching this dance in the heavens, pardon me, it really validates astrology as a science as well as a metaphysical or spiritual tool, because you can really watch the degrees as they count off and as these planets interact with each other, and watch a build up to a crescendo, and then the bigger picture emerges. It's not just about a plane crash, or it's not just about a train wreck, but it's about people getting a bigger vision of what these events are symbolic of. So, our craft that we are working with here, both astrology as well as tarot, and all of the different ways of looking more deeply into the meaning of life, are going to have more and more practical application, and I think more understanding as we're moving forward now. So there's a lot of aha moments and a lot of awakening that's been going on over the last few weeks and the last couple of months.
Yeah, and if we go back to when you and I started, by the way, this is our 6-month anniversary. We are in Aquarius and we are in Leo now. This last dance that you describe, with all this energy in Cancer, Jupiter coming in, the Mercury retrograde, this has been a very unique feeling and a new chapter starting that is really getting deep down into some very murky and some very magical, some very confusing, but I think it's all magical energy for us, and I think it's great that you're back, because I feel like we're going to start to pull out of some of the murkiness and step a lot more into some fire now. I think that the sun, finally being in Leo and off the square to Saturn and finally off this weird connection to Pluto, this is now, I think, some bright days ahead in these next couple of weeks to kind of get things moving again.
Yeah, and we're coming into this really dynamic full moon, new moon process that's going on. As we hit Monday, we're going to see that build up where the sun and moon actually come into conjunction, and we have the moon going new in Leo. So the entire weekend is the dark of the moon weekend. And that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, because we have the moon transiting over Jupiter, Mars, and Mercury before it actually catches up with the sun and renews itself. So the weekend is going to have some, like you said, ziggy, weird energy. It's not a good weekend to initiate anything new, so just chill out, go to the beach, go to the mountains, do whatever it is that you do for recreation, and take your mind off of your problems, get out of the mix, allow yourself to have a weekend in limbo, because when this new moon comes around, Monday night into Tuesday, it's going to be, I think, a very personal event for most people.
Yes, and of course the moon humps over Jupiter and Mars and now Mercury out of shadow period over the weekend, which is going to want us to really surge or really come into this feeling, and it's squaring Uranus. I mean, this Mars square Uranus energy, I think we've been in almost a little bit of a slumber spiritually, and confusion, and we're awakening out of this, and this weekend you could just want to, the second that you come out of your slumber, just go. But I think it's important for us to take our time, take our feelings in, and like you say, get ready for this new powerful energy coming in at the beginning of the week, because it's this Leo energy which is going to start trining over to Uranus and Aries, which I think is this aha moment this weekend. I think that we get it this weekend, but I think, wait till the beginning of the week. I think that's the other weird part, is the sun trines Uranus this whole weekend. So use that slumber, or use that energy to get your epiphanies, to get your ahas, and then to radically change your life this coming up week.
Right. And this is a real good week or weekend to look at alternative experiences, things you've always wondered about, but you didn't pursue, you didn't get out there and do them. Uranus loves to support that kind of activity. So, if you've always wondered what's on the other side of the wall over there, it's time to get the ladder out and climb up and take a look. You know, it's
I love that.
voyeurism does have its useful moments, and this would be the weekend for you to perhaps be a little bit of a dilettante and try doing things that you normally don't do. Try doing things that you've been curious about but afraid to actually take that step, because with the Uranian energy, the trine to the Sun, that trine to Mars and Jupiter, it's gonna carry you into new regions. It's going to expand your ability to experience compassion, expand your ability to integrate new thoughts into your life, and give you a kind of a springboard into a different vision of, gee, I wonder what if. So those kind of events can be life altering, even though it is happening during that dark of the moon phase. It's giving you a good way to go to regions of experience that you normally don't have, and give yourself permission to put your foot in the water and see if it's hot or cold, or if it's just comfortable.
Yeah, and to leave fears of that and step
Right.
into a new road. I always look at Uranus and Aries as a new road, and I think that we're always forced to find these new roads and new exits, and a lot like the exploration of what it feels like, and to find, like you say, new comfort zones. You know, you can't
Mm-hmm.
get comfortable in the same place. I just described in my webinar. We also have Jupiter opposing Pluto now, and you've got the biggest planet opposing the smallest planet. And but they're two radically powerful planets. And you've got Jupiter in Cancer, which, you know, I tend to look at Cancer as the bottom, you know, the bottom of our energy, the very rooted of our energy. And I look at that Capricorn as the top. So you've got the smallest planet reaching as high as it can, and the biggest planet reaching as low as you can. And there's a lot of energy I think we want to pull up out of. You know, we can get very stuck with Cancer energy and this kind of sluggish kind of vibe, especially when you've got that Jupiter in Cancer. And I think that you can't get comfortable on the floor yet until you reach up to the cupboard and bring down the cookies, or reach up into your life to some achievements that you need to feel worthy of this powerful energy that you want to feel in your life. And it's this Sun in Leo that wants to have fun, that wants to shine, and it's just left a square with Saturn. And you know, there's some reality checks in our life in order to have this fun, and I think a lot of it is reaching higher in your life, setting some new roads and some new paths and some new goals you've never set out on before, and seeing what it would be like to achieve those.
Absolutely, yeah. And at the same time, on Friday, we're going to have Mars separating in its angle and the trine to the tail of the dragon, the south node.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever you introduce node energy into, you know, trines that are interactive with more than one planet, and this one definitely is right now, it's going to stimulate even more of a situation where you're really feeling like destiny. You're really feeling like karma is unfolding, and that you're participating in something that you knew kind of on some level was going to happen, but you didn't really have the bigger picture. So it can be a very eventful weekend for a lot of people, and of course your willingness to enter into these new realms is what is the determining factor.
And that goes so well with how Mercury comes out of the shadow period, and we step into new ground. It's been over a month and a half since Mercury has even got to come this far again. So Mercury's thanking its lucky stars, and it really is excited to get out of Cancer and come into Leo, which it does near the end of this week. And we are moving through another change again, and this one I think is kind of needed. I think we've been kind of stuck in this energy source that feels like you might not ever get out of it, but you're about to. And you know, it's exciting. Like you bring up the destiny. I mean, like you say, the nodes. I think it's interesting that the Sun is squaring the nodes this weekend, and I think that you're so right with this action to a destined moment that you feel like you can't understand, but you've known. It's funny, I've been telling this in my horoscopes, and it's exactly the way I've been putting it. But you know that if you make this move, it's right. It's for your heart. That your heart needs to really want to feel for this, and you've got to let go of that Taurus South Node energy and come into that North Node in Scorpio, the raw truth, the passion, and not be afraid to go deep, not be afraid to go into that raw energy. And I think this is letting go of hoarding energy that we don't need anymore. It's a lot like holding on to 50 washing machines we don't need, and all these, energetically, we got to let go of so much in order to step into our happiness now.
Exactly, and to embrace our destiny. A lot of events that are coming up again with the South Node, the North Node's activities. There are destiny elements here, and if you fail to embrace your destiny, then you go into limbo. Then you're kind of offline for a while until another window comes along and opens up for you. So destino is a big theme. But the other thing with this is the tail of the dragon, the South Node, is going to be sitting there in this extended trine to Chiron. And my hospitalization, my experience, was very much all about Chiron. And one of the things that all of us in the spiritual metaphysical community have to really do is to practice what we preach. If we are the unhealed healer, if we're out there trying to open doors for other people, trying to support other people, trying to be a somewhat egotistical person in the sense of, look at me, I'm going to heal these guys, I'm going to fix this situation, then we're failing to address our own illness, our own wounds, our own issues that need to be healed. And you'll get a brick upside the head, and I know that there's definitely a certain element of that in my own life that I have to acknowledge and honor, and to realize that I've got to take care of my own, my own space, my own field of energy, my own capacity to interact with others, in order for my healing capacity on behalf of others to actually be effective. So it's, as Jesus said, physician, heal thyself. If you don't start at ground zero, and this is the opportunity to do that with that Chiron in trine to the nodes, and now in trine to Mars, this is going to open up potential for all of us to heal ourselves, and as a result of that, we can extend that healing into other people's lives.
It's perfect, and we have Jupiter coming into that grand trine of that energy as well to really blow it even to bigger proportions. But Wednesday, it's got to oppose Pluto exactly, and again, big and small, but change and expansion, finding ways to not only expand our feelings, our lives, but bring radical change to them at the same time of the expansion. So this can be a very powerful week of radically having this energy of knowing that you could take your life in the direction of fate that you want to, and that it's almost like everything could work out, but you've got to be willing to not be afraid of the change. You got to be willing to go through the experience as well. I think you describe that part of it is going through experience, and that is to heal us in a beautiful way, to allow the universe to give us these experiences and not miss the boat. I think that you brought it up right. Those who don't want to go into the vibration of this miss the boat, and that Jupiter-Pluto opposition can be frustrating as almost you watch other people in their lives take off in this radical new direction, and you could be, missing that energy inside. That could be kind of hard, especially as the Sun in Leo. It becomes a jealous kind of energy of others when people see people shining, when people see people loving their life, when people see them expanding and starting to grow, and seeing other people not be afraid of those roads that they're afraid of in themselves. It can create some very, very, weird energy, especially with Venus and Virgo right now, that I think in our relationships we can nitpick every little part of a person right now. We're getting down and practical into manifestation in all aspects of life right now. We've got to be practical. We have every necessary tool there, and we've got the universe that has brought in more destiny and more fate and more portals than ever. And, you know, this week is about not being afraid of the extreme change to take it in the beautiful direction that you can take it.
Well, and I think that we're going to definitely see an enhancement of the theme of change going on in America's uh, collective consciousness too, because this is really impacting the chart for the United States. And we're looking at a period here when we've got a lot of states are opening up for gay marriage, a lot of states are opening up for marijuana use. I mean, these were themes that 5 years ago, 8 years ago, were completely so far off the table that you would never imagine that we've arrived at that point where these changes are being enacted. And I think this particular configuration has been pulling these opportunities into our lives for us to accept other people, to accept other lifestyles, to accept other habits, other inclinations. So yeah, I think that it is going to have a lot of effect on us personally, but it's also going to have a profound effect on us nationally, and that is going to have an effect on the world. You know, the
Yes.
rest of the planet is going to be looking at America saying, gee, they're starting to finally get it there. And I think that there will be more of a positive, supportive vision of who Americans are as we continue to evolve forward.
It's interesting you bring that up. Today was the best day in the stock market in years, and the
Mm-hmm.
Nasdaq reached its highest peak since like 2000 today.
Mm-hmm.
This was, and we're recording this actually the night before we come into this on Friday. So I think you're very right in this new energy source coming in, especially in America. This new energy source collectively, we really have now pushed this new age into a new spot, and we have left so much of those old energy forces and those old karmic lessons, and we're all at a new chapter now. That this new chapter is very different than what we just went through for the last year and a couple months. And
Mm-hmm.
this one kind of gets, I think that you're right. We get pushed off in this new direction. This one, because Jupiter and Gemini, we thought we understood every spot. It's almost like we just thought we knew. Jupiter in Cancer is like that feeling when you wake up in the morning and you're like, what time is it? You know, you're having to feel it out.
Yes, it's bringing it home, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's not the same vibe at all. And
Well, and yeah, and it goes into the realm of the moon. You know, we all have the moon within us, and the
mhm,
tides are flowing, and you know, we're having high cycles and low cycles. And Jupiter in Cancer is going to kind of add the that essence of steroids to the whole process. So, you know, your emotions will be on steroids, and if you look at where these planets are active in your personal chart, that will give you even more insight as to what the opportunities are and what the things are that you need to stop and look more seriously at.
yes. And how exciting, we have Mercury come into Leo as we kind of round up the week here, coming into Thursday. As the moon comes into Virgo and leaves Leo, we got Mercury coming into Leo. So it's like everything that happened, I don't know if you were paying attention to this, we had Venus go through Leo, and then the second Venus left Leo, we had the Sun come into Leo. Then the Sun came into Leo. Now the moon leaves Leo, and Mercury comes right in after it. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
the Leo energy is very lucky, as even if one's out, there's one following the next. So I think our hearts are in a good place, and I think that's important for us to start to know what we love again, especially because we are waking up in these slumbers and these weird feelings and this moon energy you described earlier. I think it's important when you always know what your heart wants. It's easy. It's easy to figure things out in that energy. It's easy to understand where to go. It's just follow your happiness, follow what you really want in your life. And this is the first week that the Sun in Leo gets to do everything with not only a nice trine to Uranus, but no other energy force is really messing with the Sun. The Sun gets the freedom this week to really roar in our lives. And I think we feel that with a new moon even on top of it. This will be a week you were waiting for.
Absolutely. And in the process of all this, interestingly enough, as we go toward Friday of next week, we've got the moon that's going to be conjuncting Venus in Virgo. And how romantic is that? So next weekend, next Thursday, Friday, Saturday, there's a good chance that if you've been looking for somebody special to show up in your life, that could very well happen because the moon Venus conjunction brings a heightened sense of awareness of people around you. And
Yes.
you'll find that simpatico, you find that natural ease of opening up and saying, hey, I think you're gorgeous. What are you doing this evening? Want to go out for dinner? You know, that sort of thing.
And it's sextile Mars, so it's
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
and this is so funny that you bring this up because Mars is in its fall in Cancer, but Venus is in its fall in Virgo. So Mars and Venus are in the two spots that are pretty much not their favorites to be in, but I think that they work with each other in weird ways. Of Venus doesn't like to be in Virgo because it nitpicks itself to bits and it wears practical clothing and it doesn't really go flashy. Mars doesn't like to be in Cancer because it's very emotional and it's not very strong and it's not very masculine. And so this could bring for a unique kind of relationship that of energy you couldn't have had in any other time period. It could bring a very unique individual, and it could put you in a way that you've never expressed yourself in a relationship before. So I think that you're right, you could say gorgeous to a person you never thought you would, and you could connect with a person you never thought you would or felt that you could, and really meet in this very unique setting that does not happen all the time.
Yeah, and it gets you past vulnerability issues. It gets you past fears of, oh, I would never be able to approach somebody like this.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's going to be people out there running around who are going to be feeling kind of juiced up on possibilities and potential. And, keep the door open. Allow some new faces to show up from today, Friday, clear through until Sunday of the following week, because we've got some really loving and supportive energy coming through for developing relationships, for healing relationships, and more importantly, with the Chiron factor for healing yourself.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
let's take a look at a card or two here.
Yeah, let's do this.
Okay, so for Friday, look at what we're trying to do here. We are trying to balance things out on Friday. So, Two of Pentacles. And this guy, he's on a kind of a precarious situation here. He's on the tightrope. So really, as we move into this weekend, the moon is starting to move in that direction of darkening. And, what little light there is left coming from the moon is being edged out as it goes into that period of losing its power, losing its potence as it connects with the sun. By Monday, we are going to be looking at fertility. Monday is the day you really start working on intention. Monday is the day you start planting seeds for new growth, new cycle. And as we hit Tuesday morning, you want to get out there and really, put a lot of energy into your projects, into the things that interest you. And the rest of next week, the Queen of Cups, we have got all this vulnerability stuff going on. This is the opportunity for you to become transparent and to profess your love for those around you. So all of this expansive Jupiter, Uranus, Venus energy is going to be just like a flower continuing to open over this next entire week. And you really want to put a lot of emphasis on that idea of keeping the heart open, keeping yourself in a state of receptivity, because you can really have some exciting things arrive in your life.
This is building, because I just, looking ahead in August, there's a lot going to happen this month, and this is a nice week of a lot of, and I'm just going to be real, a lot of opportunity and free energy to kind of kind of have fun, and go have that fun. Go make the best of this week. Go do the things that you want to do in your life, and go for it. Jupiter opposing Pluto this week is probably the biggest of everything. This only happens once every 12 years. So this gives you the ability to really powerfully transform your life into some new journeys and new directions and new feelings, and for you to find that achievement. And the achievement is in you going for it, expanding your life. Don't limit yourself. Please. That's, I think, the lesson of the week, is to frolic and have fun out on the prairie, but not to moan and dope it yourself, in the corner.
Well, yeah, and to really look at your fears and ask yourself in truth, are these built on realistic conditions, or am I just allowing that part of my mind to get, totally psycho and out of control?
Yeah. And, it's so good to have you back, Chris. Thank you so much for being back, and it's an honor to have you back.
So it's been great doing these with you, David. We've developed a really amazing chemistry here, and I think as we advance forward now, we're going to see more and more opportunity to bring healing, enlightened thoughts to everybody who's hanging out with us. So it is a delight to be back with you in the studio, and I'm looking forward to the future.
Me too, Chris. Thank you so much, and I can't wait to see you next week.
Sounds great. Have a great week.
Bye.
Bye.